All right, guys, we're live.
You're so, what?
Aaron, thank you. I'll call this budget committee meeting to order at 6 o'clock on the 15th of May, 2018. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. Let's go through roll call. I'll start with my right. Please state your name.
Tammy Smith.
Bob Carrier.
Stan Nato.
David Purpose.
Peg Hurd.
Mark Courier.
Thomas McDougall.
Sherry Gazer.
Welcome, everyone. This is Sean Perot. Alrighty, so we're going to start off with Robert's Rules of Order. Hopefully everyone read the email I sent out. I was just watching the last meeting that we had. There was a lot of talking and talking over people, so I think we're just going to need to just stick with what our bylaws state. Really, just use the Robert's Rule of Order. You don't have to be super strict and everything else, but let's get a motion on the table, start the discussion. If you want to talk, just get my attention. Let everyone speak once who wants to. If we have time, or if someone wants to speak again, we'll let that person speak again. I think it's going to make the meetings go much, much faster. I think it's going to be much more effective, and it'll get us do our jobs and go home, which I think we all want to do.
I'll make a motion that we start following Robert's Rules of Order.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? All right, so be it. Start our next step. Review minutes. That's on the white tab.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of April 17th.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it. Yeah.
Anyone opposed?
No, but I do have a question.
Okay.
Was it Bob Boudreau or Bordeaux? It's spelled correctly in there? Bourdeau?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I got a correction then to myself.
We have a motion to approve them without. Did
Oh.
you mean to do it with corrections?
Okay, with corrections, if any.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I got corrections here.
Second, everyone? Good?
Aye.
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 Okay, let's
Aye.
continue. Go ahead, Stan. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob, you have the...
Yeah, on page 2, committee secretary, about fourth line down, is carrier, not courier. That's going to happen more than once, for sure. Actually, it's on the other page as well. Page 3, 1, 2, 3, fourth line down from the top.
Bob Carrier.
She was consistent.
Carrier.
So maybe we'll make a note before...
Global search and replace.
Yeah, global search, anything that says Bob. And maybe when these are put together, make sure you have first and last name.
Chairman, actually,
Stan?
we don't have to have a last name. You can put the first name with the last initial.
Okay,
Yeah, we could do that.
whichever works for everyone.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
speaking
Tom.
of corrections, I think page 1, Bob Bridges. That's all right.
Yep.
I'm an engineer, not an administrator. Okay.
Then obviously it's not Bob Bridges, Bob Boudreau.
Right.
So there was a Bob Bridges.
There was a
wasn't
Bob Bridges.
There was a pub.
Yes.
In which
He
case,
wasn't here.
He wasn't here. He withdrew his...
Ah,
Yes, let's see. It was the, where it says on the bottom, page 1,
This is Bob Brides.
Brides, yeah, it's Bridges. It just needed G after the D. Down below here, page 1.
Actually,
Last
Bob.
paragraph.
Shouldn't that be Bob Bordeaux?
Bordeaux.
Read what it says.
Yeah, that should be.
yeah,
Bob
that
Bordeaux.
should be Bob Bordeaux down there.
Down, yep, you're right.
All right.
We didn't discuss anybody that wasn't,
Yeah, okay.
that hadn't withdrawn.
That's a good catch.
The only thing I'd like to, if I don't mind, see what the rest of the board feels about. The minutes are good, they're nice. I found myself being lost reading them in a lot of places where, okay, I go back and read this 2 or 3 times because I don't know what that person was particularly saying about what. I think I'd like to have a little bit more detail of what the subject matter was when that person said it?
So,
I think part of that will be corrected when everyone's not talking over everyone when we have the discussion.
yeah, I think we both have a good point. Like, having some context will be helpful, as well as if everyone's speaking by them, at once. Not everyone's speaking at once.
It just seems like it would bounce here, then bounce there, then bounce here, then
Yeah.
bounce there. And they're good, and they're legal. You don't even have to have, what would you have per law? But I think if someone goes to read it, we encourage people to read them. We want to be able to understand them, exactly what someone said. You know what I mean? That's only my point. I mean, I'm not saying to change anything, I just wanted to discuss it, that's all.
Yeah, and one thing, in our agenda, we do have a discussion, we're gonna talk about the bylaws, and in the bylaws, it does kind of state what should be in the minutes, so I think we can do some clarification there.
I got another one, but there's another one here, I can't seem to find it, but this one here is on page 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, fourth line. It's DRA, but actually it's the RSAs that are gonna dictate what we're gonna do. DRA is something different, it's revenues.
Okay.
Bob, I think I already corrected that one
You did?
from our email
Okay.
earlier.
I didn't have a chance to look at them, and I figured you probably already printed them out, but they're not here though.
Yeah, no, I printed these out last Friday, so
Okay.
any changes since then are reflected in these.
There was another one, something about my fault. Did you catch that one there?
Already took care of it.
You took care of it, what I put in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All of the
I'll check it.
corrections that you sent to me,
Yep.
I've already incorporated.
Okay, the one that needs to be changed though is the DRA.
I already took care of that too.
Okay, it's RSA, right?
Yep.
Okay, and that's it for me then.
Fantastic.
We'll call the vote.
Any further discussion? Not seeing any? Start from my left.
Abstain.
Okay.
Accept.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
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 And I will say aye as well. So, next one, budget and finance workshops. I kind of wanted to bring this up. We kind of skipped through it, and it's rather important, especially as I mentioned last time, for people who have won their 3-year term to really kind of understand the process. Can I see a show of hands of people who are planning on going to this? Aaron? Excellent. I am as well, actually. Okay, great. Make sure. You got all those, Sherry?
Tom, David, Aaron, Tammy, Sean.
Mr. Chairman, in the past, when people have gone to these workshops, they've given the rest of the board like a page with highlights that something might have changed or something to concentrate more on or something we might even be doing wrong. So, nice that you know, but we should be told, so, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when I go to conventions or any sort of things like that, I typically take a lot of notes and bring it back to whatever teammates can't make it, so.
Just a quick question. Is there anything, because I went last year, is there anything new that,
I honestly don't know.
Who knows?
I can ask Heather to see
Okay.
if they know if there's been any major updates between the 2 years, or
Right, 'cause
Aaron,
Aaron's
sorry.
going.
the floor.
They say that typically there's not a lot that's different, that it pretty much runs the same, but you do run the option of that there are things that have changed, and they do recommend that everybody take it year to year. So
Okay.
just because you took it last year, don't
and
not
it's I
take
noticed
it
you're
this year.
going again, so that was my question. Okay.
The money's there. We budgeted for it.
We did. I got room for 3 people in my car. Bob?
Okay, we budgeted for 2 people, but, if you look at the budgets, I asked that thing to be broken down in four sections. It was not done. It's a one-liner, so I'm not stopping anybody from going.
Yeah.
It's
My
well
recollection.
worth going, because especially the long-term
Aaron.
people.
I
I'm
thought we
sorry.
budgeted for more.
No, we budgeted for 2 because we thought we talked about it, and I didn't budget for it. That's why I wish it was broken down so I could tell, but it doesn't matter. If these people want to go, there's money in there, and we're going to use it. If we overspend, we overspend. I just didn't budget enough.
Aaron?
We'll find money. I mean, mine can come out of the selectmen's
Right.
budget.
Yes.
Stan wanted to go. I'm sure the water district could
Talk to my boss, ask him if I can have the time off.
So I think the rule of thumb here is we'll find the money to make sure that we're as prepared as possible for budget season.
Plus, I think as a member of the board, you have a legal right to go.
Yes.
And you can't say no to the individual that wants to go. So,
Even better. Cool. Thanks to those who were planning on going.
Which-
Go ahead, David.
Which might make a good point to note so that we make sure that it's budgeted for the full amount next year, whether or not one person or two people are going,
Yep,
so we don't have to worry about being over.
absolutely. All right, new business. The budget season calendar update. Number one, I want to say thanks to Bob for spending a lot of time putting it together. I haven't sent it out to the committee yet. I sent it to the school and to the town to try to get some feedback first before we present it to all of us. Hello? Okay, it's all good. Right now, just waiting for some feedback. I gave everyone a gentle reminder over email today, and everyone got back to me saying, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll look at it." So by next meeting, we're going to try to make sure that we keep the lines of communication over and get some sort of feedback from them so we can get this thing solidified now. We're not rushing at the end of the year. Erin?
I did meet with Heather this afternoon.
Oh,
It was
fantastic.
late, she was on her way out the door. But she did say that, you know, I presented my issues that I have with it
Okay.
to her to contact the other selectmen to see how, if we were all on the same page, so
Okay,
I'm sure we'll have a response soon.
great. And Earl said, yeah, we'll look at it and get back to us, the rest of the school board. Bob?
Karen, I added another date to it, possible, okay? This is like Thursday, November the 29th. I only did that because there's a possibility that we could start then for the town.
Okay, Thanksgiving will be
Okay.
on the 22nd then, I imagine that year, this year.
I just looked at the possibilities, and there's a bunch in the front there. It depends on where they start, and I found room, maybe we can get there, and if we can get all the information by the 20th, we could start there, and it would be beneficial to us. We'll gain a day.
Yeah.
We may need it.
Yep, so I'll bring up that change to,
What was the date?
it's the
Yeah.
29th.
November 29th. Nothing set in stone. I've gone over it and over it.
Yep,
I might have missed something. I'm hoping I didn't.
okay. Well, that's why we start early. If we miss something, we'll figure it out and we'll fix it.
Well, this is the first time we've ever started this early. We've never done this.
Who are we doing first, the town or the school?
School's getting it first this year. They went last year. David? I'm sorry. Oh, Aaron?
Bob, we're not there yet. You can say we're gonna start early, but we're not there yet.
Okay,
so-
on
Not
that-
to be
Wait,
Debbie
wait.
Downer,
On
but-
that point, okay, nobody's gonna throw any blame to the budget committee. We are moving along because what happened the last 2 years,
And that's
not
good.
gonna go through that again.
All right. Point taken. Thank you. Technology communication. So right now, the school board documents are being uploaded by Nate onto Google Docs. So far, I can ask him how it's working. He seems to really like it. I think it's cutting down on the amount of emails that we're getting, random emails. I collate everything that's coming in, send out one email to the team. Everyone gets to look at the documents up there. We have read access. The only person that has write access is Nate, so he's the only one who can put updates up there. So far, working really well. Probably give it another month, and then I'll go in and talk to the town, see if we can have them do the same thing. It's just more efficient. It just keeps down on the email and the amount of space. I mean, granted, we have gigs of space in our email nowadays, but there's no reason to have all these different versions flying back and forth via email. And I get them out to you guys as soon as possible because the date that I get it is within 12 hours, you guys are getting the most updated email, so it's not like a major lag there. One thing, if anyone else is interested in being a part of this and coming up with some solutions, send me an email after the meeting and we'll figure it out. I know we have a lot of technical people here and we have people who want to learn about technology, and more information the better. Bob, are you okay?
Yep, all set. I just wanna make sure it's still going. It is.
No town can't handle all of this beauty all at once, it's taken in small doses.
Look out, the emails are coming in.
Here.
Look at him, he's all proud of himself.
I'm not saying nothing.
There you go, I love you. Town financials report. Aaron.
Yes, thanks. We're still having some issues from time to time. Most of what we talked about at the last meeting with the professional services for the PD, it is because the lawyers, we pay out a chunk sum beginning. That's why through contract, that's why it's the way it is. There was a couple that I have not gotten answers back on yet. The lease for the TA equipment, again, is the same thing. And I'm waiting to hear back from Vanessa. There was a couple of questions on a couple of things that we weren't sure, so I had to go through Heather to go through Vanessa and get the answers to those questions.
Okay.
Is there anything that stuck out in particular this month that wasn't already addressed from the prior?
Anybody have any? Bob?
Yeah, I do. On page 6, the vehicle maintenance, did you,
Can you do the line number, Bob, so we're all on there?
this is just page 6, vehicle, what is it, maintenance,
PD
almost down the
vehicle
bottom.
maintenance.
Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Thank
7.
you.
I think it was, yeah.
4210-730.
Oh, I should have done, yeah, I could have given you that.
Yeah.
There's a minus on the month to date. It looks like there's an error in there, but on the year to date, if you look there, that got added on to amount remaining, so that budget just went up, and it shouldn't have.
Right.
I don't, it's the only way.
That's one of the questions that I had out that I haven't gotten an answer back on yet.
Okay. If you would have said that, I wouldn't have had to run it for it, because I thought you may have said something Monday night, but I wasn't sure. And there was one other thing that, I think it's page 10. This miscellaneous line, 400, well, that's the very bottom line, 014312-890. That's an awful lot of money for a dollar line, $439. I'd like to know what was purchased out of that, or what took place.
That again is the questions out there, waiting for.
Okay.
The professional services under highway.
Mm-hmm.
That one there was a DOT physical.
Okay, Erin, can I just, that was, why is it remaining is minus 84? It didn't get taken out. If $85 is here on year to date,
Right.
and they subtracted it there.
Right, because there was $1. There's $1 in the line, holding the line.
You're correct. I must be, that's the way it should be. My mistake. Boy, I'm in rare form tonight. And that's it. I just have one more question, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Aaron, about the revolving fund, my understanding has been cleared up. Have we got the totals yet?
I do not have the totals
You don't have
yet.
them? Okay. As soon as you get them, I'd like to have it.
Okay,
Okay, send it to the chairman, and he'll send it to the committee.
okay.
Okay? My concern is there's money being spent there, and it's gonna come out of the general fund, but when they get reimbursed, how are they gonna balance that statement? And if they don't know what the balance is? No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Any other questions on the town budget? Anyone need a few more minutes to review?
Quick question. What's covered under the TA contract services normally?
Can you give a page and a number, please?
I can give you the number. It's 4130, 340.
The number should be in at the right of the page.
Page 1, I guess.
Alrighty.
What was it again?
4130, 340. It's about a third of the way down, page 1.
What exactly comes out of there? I can't tell you what exactly comes out of there.
I'm not in
I would
detail,
have
the
to
general
check.
concept, like, is that where legal comes out of or not?
No,
doesn't
that
have-
would be under that would be in a different line. I believe this is partially Joanne salary. I know
Okay.
that it has to do with the printer. And I actually had that file sitting at the house and meant to throw it in my bag when I walked out the door, but I was running a little late, so. But it had all of because I had asked for a breakdown on that. Because I had some questions on some issues we're having with the printer. So.
I was just asking, because
Right.
out of the ones that, between March and April, that's one of the largest expenditures.
That jumped,
That's not
right.
salary.
Right.
Or benefits related.
I can send that to Sean, and Sean can send it out.
Sure.
When I have the other answers too, I'll just send it.
Any other questions about the town? Thomas?
No, I'm good.
Everyone good? All right, good. Let's move over to the school district.
School. I gave you all a detailed update on what was over last month. Those have not changed. However, there are a couple, and since I can't get service here, I have to get my phone ahead of time. If you look on page 13, the first one this month is school board secretary, the first two lines, 2310. We've gone over, it's separated, we only have one secretary, we've had actually two this year. Actually, we're working on three, our third one. Can't seem to keep them, sorry. Anyway, it's split, anything with a 1 is for elementary, anything with 2 is for secondary. So you see the 5140-1 and then 5140-2. We basically just split between elementary and high school. And we did go over, obviously, and we're very much aware that we're going to have to budget a little bit more for next year, or this upcoming year.
Stan?
Question, just for clarification.
Yes.
When you said you're 2, 3, you're talking about at different times. You're not having 3
Oh, right, at
secretaries.
different times, I'm sorry, yes.
We don't have 3 secretaries employed at this time.
No, no. No, we started out with Laura Noseworthy, who then became the school board person, and then we had Sherry for a while, and now we have our third one. So,
As long as I get your attention, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but it shows you 18.8% left.
uh-huh,
I know
We're
there's
frozen.
A lot of variables, a lot of federal money we don't know if we're going to get or how much of when we do get it. What are the thoughts of the school board as to where this should, when the dust settles, where we're going to be at?
we are going to be next week at our meeting, looking at dipping into our, and I'm never gonna get the name right, but the trust fund balance sheet is out, what it's called, whatever, Bob, can you help me with that name? Because I always ask.
Capital reserve.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
is left over
Yeah.
that, on the warrant articles for special ed. Because we've had more kids and more issues, and, I mean, if you look at it, that's really where we
You have
are.
approximately 6 weeks left.
Yep.
So
We have
18%
frozen, all right, we've frozen the budget, so
What
there's
you're
no more.
saying, 19% is probably not going to support it, 6 weeks.
But everything that we know has been encumbered, which includes or is part of that.
Salaries, everything.
Right. FICA, I mean, anything that we know for absolute sure, any contracts. So it would be just variables, and our biggest variable is always special ed. And so we're gonna talk about transferring some
So on
money
the other side of
over.
the coin, any monies that we expect in, that pretty confident we're gonna get, or we know we're not gonna get?
No, we're pretty confident that we will be getting our revenue, so
Okay.
that's no problem. We hope. We hope. We're trying to think, as far as the town is concerned, giving back to the town, was it 153,000 from the split up of the SAU from Wakefield? So that at least will be going back to the town.
That's a
We-
separate issue.
Right, and we can't
We can't
touch
You can't
that.
commingle those funds.
No, we cannot touch that, and I know that, and we know that. But I'm just saying that as far as the town is concerned, we will be giving that money back to the town. The other one, if you want to keep going, on page 14, now that we have the SAU portion in here, if you look at 2320, 53,220, professional development. Our special ed coordinator she's kind of an admin, but she's also a teacher. And since she is entitled to professional development, that line, Nate just put that in that line, and that line is over.
Can you give a little more clarification what you mean by
Regarding, okay.
what she's entitled to?
She is still part of the teacher contract, but because she's kind of a dual admin person, rather than taking it out of our special ed, which is way over anyway, Nathan decided, and it was agreed, that we would put her professional development under the SAU.
How is her salary broken out? Is it under the SAU?
No, it's under special ed. So if you go back to special ed, all right, where is special ed back in here? The big one.
Personally, I don't agree with that, because if it's not a direct effect to the SAU, why should it be hit with it?
All right, well, I can check with Nathan on that, because that was a question for me this time, and that was the explanation, so.
If
I can check
we're
for
trying to
it.
get transparency on all these lines, if they go over, there's a reason, we have the reason for it.
Yeah.
So if it should have been in the special ed, you have a justifiable reason for it, then it's gonna go over. But if you put it in the SAU and it doesn't go over, there's.
It won't be adjusted next year.
Right, no red flag,
Okay.
no nothing.
Okay.
So,
All right, now I will certainly make a note of that to Nathan.
Good point, Stan.
Yep, thank you, Stan.
Is she a part-time sped director?
She's
For the
full,
SAU?
she's full-time,
She's full-time
Right.
position, she's underneath collective bargaining,
right.
but is part of, how many hours does she spend as a sped director?
Probably 50 to 60% of her time is as a director.
As a SAU sped director?
Right,
And then the rest of the time is spent in the classroom or
helping,
rec
yep,
services?
right,
Okay,
with
so
students.
then her professional development would come out of the SAU budget, if, or at least 50% of that, if it's justified towards, if she's an SAU, 50% of the time she's an SAU sped director.
Okay, so maybe 50%, okay.
Well, I'm not saying
Or
50%.
whatever.
You're telling me she's 50%
Right,
of an SAU director. So if her professional development, if that whole figure goes towards being a sped director, then fine.
okay.
But if part of it's being direct services or not being an SAU sped director, then
Okay,
you'd have to adjust accordingly.
okay.
I guess, and on the same line too, is like transportation, I'm just curious, where you're over on transportation for sped, on the sped transportation, are there any typical students on that bus, or is it just sped only?
Yep. And the majority of the reason that we're over, again, is because of students coming in that we cannot fulfill their
You
IEPs,
can't.
and we have
You're
to
transported, okay.
transport them out, yeah.
Okay.
So, but I will certainly, good points, both of you. Anything else anybody has?
What line does professional development come out of for special ed? Because I didn't see it in the basically the teachers' lines for special ed, if you would. You know, the only ones I saw were down in
Regular
instruction at
teachers.
2210 on page 11. And there we don't break out separately special ed.
We're at 2210 on page 11.
Yeah, it says improvement of instruction, and I'm guessing elementary professional development, conferences.
Oh, okay, this would include everybody.
Okay, but is that where professional development for special ed would go?
Yes, if you were a special ed teacher and you were doing professional development or, yep.
Okay, so if we put it where it normally would go, you wouldn't know that that was special ed anyway, because
Right.
we don't call that out.
Right.
But it may not be directly special ed.
Yeah,
Well, anybody who is taking, everybody needs to be certified.
yeah.
So
I'm
in
just-
order to get all of their hours, you need to take classes or courses or whatever that go towards your specific certification. So if you're a special ed teacher, you need to maintain your special ed certification. So you would obviously take courses related to special ed.
Yeah, but how would we, because we're over on special ed, one concern is, okay, budget season next year, we want to make sure granted, you can't predict necessarily how much you're going to have to spend, but we
Right.
would like to better track, okay, we had this extra expense that we didn't expect that we're saying is special ed related, but I don't see how we could track that given the way that we're set up here. We wouldn't know that that's a specific special ed expense, even if we put it in where all the other professional development goes. There's nothing to flag that says, hey, this was another $2,000 for special ed, we need to account for that in the special ed budget. Is what I'm saying making sense, or am I just off in left field?
Sort of, but I want to just make sure that I understand what you're asking and what you're saying here. Because all of the professional development is under, one header.
Yep.
And none of it is broken down. The CBA has courseware and then workshops, and so that's why you see the conferences. So are you asking that maybe we should look at how many special ed people are taking?
And maybe it's making something out of nothing, but it seems that Stan brought up the point of trying to track that this is a special ed expense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we track it the way that we do professional development, we'd never know that we spent monies for professional development that were specifically for special ed.
For this
To
one
know the
special ed
increase-
person. There's
know
one
the-
person only.
No, okay, so no other special ed teachers?
No, the other special ed teachers do, but this is the special ed director who's half admin, half in the classroom.
Okay,
So
but-
she's a special
so-
case.
So normally, special ed teachers after professional development, it gets covered under 2210.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so maybe it just gets put in there and we don't worry about tracking this $2,000 out of the $10 million budget or whatever it is for the school.
Okay, well, that was, since you brought that up, what I also made a note for myself is maybe move her professional development just under the professional development with everybody else, and maybe make a little note for her.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Or if we're trying to make sure we account for have enough money, or you can't really make sure you have enough, but say, hey, we went over this time, we want to maybe increase it for next time. if we could track expenses that are caused because of special ed. Now, if these are expenses that would be caused regardless of whether or not they were special ed teachers, just because they're an employed teacher, they have to take X number of credits, then it probably really doesn't matter, because it wouldn't matter if they were special ed or not.
Right.
But
Yeah, the general teacher, yes. But, I mean, this is
it's
a good point on this one, yep.
But, just making sure that if it's something we're concerned about tracking, make sure it's put somewhere that we can see that this is what it was for. Sorry for that segue.
No, that's,
It's been a long week already.
and it's only Tuesday.
It's been a long week.
Okay.
And as far as like the Roberts rules we discussed earlier, in my opinion, if two people are having a civil discussion, especially when we're discussing the budget, because otherwise it would be back and forth and then to back.
Oh,
and then
okay.
I find that that's okay. If you're a person who wants to interject, if you could wait, right? So two people having a civil conversation, I think is acceptable. If you, don't be the third person like in a hockey fight. Never be the third person into the fight. Always step back, grab somebody else. Any other questions for the school board? David, I know you put up together some documentation here. I don't know if you wanted to talk about it or just want to make it aware, everyone else aware.
It's mostly just to be aware. It's like the intent of that is just, that's a comparison between the last month and this month's. So you can very quickly see what changed without having to look at each individual line item on something. So it like basically removes everything that didn't change.
Yeah.
In other words, if no encumbrances happen and the budget and the revised budget didn't change, it's not even on that list.
Yeah.
So it's only looking at whatever the revised budget, if that had changed, in other words, if money got moved, that's in that the first column for the school in terms of the revised budget for between 1 month and another changed. Or the encumbrance, you can very quickly see where a bunch of money got spent, or if none got spent, it's not even showing up.
If I can find the one I did last year, I'll send it to you too. So it's the same idea.
It's a similar.
Really, because month to month to month. It's good to see a pattern. Yes.
I thank David. It took me a while to, and several questions, to figure out what he was doing here. But anyway, very good. But I'm also, I mean, I looked at the town, because he did it for the town too. And I'm just looking at the school report. And we have 2 different months, I guess. And I'm not seeing that in the town, and I'm seeing that you couldn't do 2 months
No,
on this one?
The school one isn't 2 separate months. It's just that first column of numbers on the school one is how the revised budget might have changed between the two. In other words, as you're looking at it, the difference between what was budgeted for superintendent salary in March was $103,000 less than what it was in April. So the budget got increased by that amount, by that $103,000. That's how the budget got changed.
Okay.
The question was asked last meeting is like, okay, if you're over budget, where did the money come from? That's kind of,
Okay.
that's what that first column is saying is like, okay, money wasn't originally budgeted, enough wasn't originally budgeted for superintendent. So somehow 103,000 showed up.
Okay.
Further down in the list, it's like you can see where there's the other items were positive numbers, and that's where money was taken out of the budget because it wasn't needed for that particular line item, and
right.
it got moved in there.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thanks, David. Any other questions for Peg on the school board, school budget?
Just food
Mark?
services,
Yes?
aside from grunting. You're gonna leave on the red in food services?
We budget being in the red for food services every year. My understanding is that red has decreased. Not sure if I could say this here. I know I've said it
What's the
At
number of
school
food
boards.
services? What's the negative number of food services?
It's about 27,000. You don't have that? Was that not in here? Right now, it's about 27,000. I don't particularly care to budget a negative anything. However, we just had the cafe services, I can't remember what the name of it is, come to our last meeting, and we went through, and I was the nasty one, asking all the nasty questions. And that's the way it goes. And it does not make me happy, and that's all I can say. And I don't think I should say anymore.
Okey doke. Yes, Bob.
Peg,
Yes.
you know, when I get those reports there, I get extra, they have the cafe in there,
Right.
listed everything in there. Maybe the budget committee would like to look at it in more detail.
Okay.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought we were gonna do, because there's other things that, financial stuff that does come
Right.
along.
And he just basically sent you, because I know I asked for that capital
Capital reserve.
reserve fund too, so I will ask him to make sure that he sends everything. Because I noticed you did not send the capital reserve, so, Nate.
It would be easier to follow, that's all.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the capital reserve fund, wouldn't that come from the trustees of the trust funds?
And we have ours, so that we know what the balance is
But they're in
for,
control of all of it. The
pardon?
trustees of the trust funds are in control of it, correct?
Even ours?
I believe so.
I believe
Okay.
so too.
All right.
There is a section in there that says school and town and water district as well.
Okay, all right.
So that could be requested right to the trustees of the trust funds, Karen Brown, and to supply that to us every month.
Okay, well, we get it. I mean, Nate has it and keeps it updated. So I know we're going to be having a public hearing next Wednesday for the special ed, so.
Okay, I made a note to send Karen a request for that information. Unless you want me to go through you, Aaron.
October. Would you like me to?
Aaron,
I will.
Ms. Selectwoman, could you please get that information from Karen for us?
Do what? I didn't hear.
Aaron's going to take care of getting it from Karen for us.
Okay.
I don't want to overstep my bounds there.
I think she still is the chairperson of the trustees of the trust fund.
I thought it was
I think she.
Marion.
No, she's the treasurer.
Marion is the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think Karen Brown is still the chairperson, right? Anyway,
She is with
We'll
the
get the
trustee of trust
data.
funds, but I think Marion Kraft
the treasurer.
Is it she's something.
Last chance for school board? All right, let's go move on. Now the fun part of the day, our bylaws review. So, as I mentioned in the last meeting, it's under the yellow for those who haven't discarded their folders. People who were willing to take a whack at it went in and made some updates. So if we wanted, we can just walk through. I'd like to go through section by section. I'm not going to say it that we all can read, right? So,
So which, so just clarity, so the one that we had in our book today has changes to it.
correct, as of last Friday.
All right, so I gotta go back and pull that one, not the one that I highlighted with my changes.
Purpose. Any additions, subtractions, enhancements on purpose?
I'm assuming the these are the changes that are color variations?
Yeah, and the ones that are struck out were in red. And then I tried to fix some of the grammar. Knowing that Peg was here and she's an English teacher, so I don't know.
Seen in red.
No, it won't be red.
It's
It's
striped
light.
out.
Cost extra
It's
money
fine
for black and white.
It's light colored.
Oh, so, okay. So, I wanna find here.
Section 1.
Yeah, no, what I'm highlighting.
I don't hear anything. Section 1, good to go. Section 2, organization.
I would like to discuss, I don't know if someone's already brought this up, about in line 1, is okay, but line 2, in the case of a vacancy in the position of chair after such election, the vice chair shall immediately succeed to the position of chair. A new vice chair will vote. I think that should be reworded, because I don't feel that there should be a given that the vice chair is automatically going to be the chair. I think it should be a vote of the board.
So, to make a motion to make that,
Well, we got to make a motion with the proper language. How do we want to make the language? The vice chair shall immediately succeed to the position. I think that the vice chair shall immediately succeed to the position of chair should be stricken, and it should say a new chair will be voted in immediately. The other way, it takes our right to vote away from us.
so making a motion?
I'll make the motion that the line 2 reads, in the case of a vacancy in the position of chair, that that the board shall vote in a new chair. However you want to reword that, they don't sound right, but.
May I make a quick suggestion?
Go ahead, David.
Modify it in such a way, so in the case of a vacancy in the positions of chair after such election, the vice chair shall immediately succeed to the position of chair. Leave that in, but say a new chair shall be elected at the first regularly scheduled meeting after the chair position becomes vacant. So what it's basically saying is the vice chair will take over as the chair for the period of time until you have the next meeting, so that you aren't without a chair. So that's because, given the chair has to
what this is
coordinate
arising
stuff.
from is the town elections. If in fact the person that was running was the chair, didn't get reelected, that's what this is all about. So they're not on the board no longer, so the chair is gone.
And
So-
the vice chair should become the chair until you have the election. So whoever the vice chair is would be the one to coordinate the
Whatever
meeting.
the board wants to do, I just don't want to have it that it's a given that the vice chair is automatically the new chair.
So, just another point, like another scenario would be if, let's say, I got into a car wreck or whatever, right? And I can't come to meetings anymore. Bob would,
The vice chair automatically,
right,
no different than if you're sick.
correct.
Right, the vice chair assumes those responsibilities for that meeting, that one and only meeting. Now, if you're dead, that's a different story. In your car accident.
God
you know?
forbid.
All right.
Thomas, go ahead.
It looks like to me that point 2, that already takes care of the case where the chairman did not get voted in. Okay, because after the first regularly scheduled meeting after the town election, you vote for chair and vice chair. Number 3 appears to me to be that if the chair moves out of state, moves, whatever, is no longer able to be chair, now you don't have a chairman. I think that's the case that this is accounting for, because right after the town election, you've already elected a chair and vice chair from point 2. So in point 3, it looks like to me this is in event of vacancy of the position of chair, the vice chair runs the meeting until a new chairman can be elected.
That makes sense.
I still like to see that automatic stricken out of there.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we shouldn't change it.
And
Go ahead. And then get ready to go next one.
And that's why, like I was saying, if you leave that first sentence alone and reread that second sentence by just removing the word vice in front of the chair, that second sentence would then say, a new chair shall be elected at the first regularly scheduled meeting after the chair position becomes vacant.
Thank you.
That stops that.
Mark?
I was going to say the same exact thing, just remove vice in the last sentence.
It certainly makes that a lot more clear.
Yeah.
And that's all my goal is to make it not an automatic given.
Okay.
That's all. I don't care what the language says, as long as the end result is that if something was to happen, that the chair isn't automatically, the vice chair isn't automatically the chair. That's all. That's my motion. If you want
Would you like to?
to fluff up the language a little bit, go right ahead. I don't
Okay.
care,
So the motion is to keep the first line in Roman numeral 2, section B, number 3, keep the first line. The second line will read, a new chair shall be elected at the first regularly scheduled meeting after the chair position becomes vacant. Any other discussion? Ready for the question?
Second. You need a second.
No, we didn't have one before. Any seconds?
Second.
Second. By the way. Aaron,
Aye.
Aye.
Tammy.
Aye.
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 Very good, and I'll say aye as well. Also, the addition that Bob had made for the first one was nominations of and elections for the officers, so a majority vote of those present, and their addendum was or by speakerphone. I think
Yes.
it worked well the last time.
Yes, he did.
Thank you. You did it for me, you did it for Stan.
So make a motion to append or by speakerphone to 2B1. Second.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
May I ask who the first was on that again, please?
I'm sorry,
The first, who made the motion, please?
I did. I'm not sure I'm supposed to.
I
but
seconded.
There it was.
Thank you.
Okay, so organization. Excellent. Duties of officers. Let's look at the section A first. So there was a change. And A3, again, and/or by speakerphone. So the chair, with the approval of a majority of the committee present and/or by speakerphone and/or the request of the selectmen or school board, shall delegate certain members of the committee to investigate budgetary matters or to serve on citizens committee or subcommittees. That's a duty of the chair.
I'll make a motion to accept and/or by speakerphone. Can I do that?
I'll second for discussion. So
Okay.
the way this reads, you could be here by yourself with a secretary and we could all be on speakerphone.
I don't believe so, Mr. Chairman, because I think you have to have a majority of people present to hold the meeting.
And or by speakerphone.
I think legally, the RSA states you have to be present.
That's why I'm asking.
So I
It
believe,
states right here, it says, you're changing it, majority of the committee present.
Yeah.
And or by speakerphone.
so let me clarify that a bit. If you look on, geez, I'm still looking here. Conduct of meetings, quorum. Quorum shall consist of a majority of 6 members of the budget committee, including voting members of the Board of Selectmen, Water District, and School Board as provided by RSA 21:15. We can't have a legal meeting without quorum, so this might be the place to specify that we need to have quorum of members who are present at the meeting, and then that would carry over to every other section of here.
Okay.
Does that make
We
sense?
just want to clarify.
No, I'm gonna put a little star right next to here. But, great, good catch. We have any other discussion on that? Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Chair says aye. Duties of officers, vice chair. Any proposed changes? Nope. Okay, gonna leave that as is. Vacancies, section 4. If you look at section B, this was proposed, this is an addition by Bob. I have a comment on that, but I'll let everyone else speak to it. Stan?
I would not like to see that in here. That is a motion that can be made at the time of filling the vacancy. The board can decide what method they want to use and not have their hands tied to this and then have to go back and adjust the bylaws in order to make a change. No different than what we did to fill a position this year.
Yep.
We all agreed to do what you suggested right from the start. If we had this in here, you would have no choice but to do this and all go back and change our bylaws.
I actually totally agree.
Mr. Chairman,
Bob, go ahead.
the reason I put that in there, if we come to a meeting and nobody can decide how they want to do it, we keep getting new members and they don't know what to do. And if Stan's still here, we all set, but if they don't. That was the only reason why I put that
What are you
there.
trying to say, Bob? I tell them what to do?
No, you would know what to do, but if somebody else didn't know, say, how are we gonna do this? And I was following, actually, Sean's, that we did, but that's fine, if you wanna take it out.
So,
It was just something we don't know what to do, but we have something in place.
yeah, I agree with Stan, actually. I think that whoever is chairing the budget committee should be able to come up with an equitable way to get a new person. Personally, I think it went really well. I think everyone got a chance to speak. We all got asked question and answer session. But I don't think this belongs in our bylaws, personally. I do agree with Stan that who's ever on the board at that time should have the freedom to come up with a procedure that works for them. Maybe some of us will still be on it if that happens again, and we can bring it back up that it worked before. David?
I might suggest we could still leave a B item in there related to filling the vacancy, but not giving this detail of a step, but only put in things like, for example, post the vacancy for a period of a minimum of this. How we actually do the voting, pull that out. We don't need to do all of that in there, but we should have something so that the populace knows.
Peg, go ahead.
What I was thinking, I certainly do agree, maybe not in the bylaws for the reason you said, Stan, but I did think this worked very well, and I'm just wondering if there's someplace else, like a chair's Bible or something that, you can pass on to the next person? Or?
So, that's actually what I'm working on.
Okay, I thought I remembered you saying something about that. So maybe at least this is a procedure that we did. It worked. New chair, you can make the changes, but I do agree that don't tie our hands to a specific thing. But it worked.
And again, what he was just saying, I wouldn't put anything, because we don't know what may arise. We don't know what situation may happen. We may not be able to stick to that minimums and this and that. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So don't tie our hands so that we're committed to something that we can't fulfill without changing the bylaws. So again, that's up to the chairperson at that time, no differently than what Mr. Pearl did. I think we should leave it the way it was originally and don't restrict the board at all.
So, any more discussion on this topic? Tammy, were you raising? No. Okay. So there's a motion on the floor to strike Part B.
Am I making that motion?
I believe you did.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor of striking Part B?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Don't be afraid.
I'm gonna oppose it.
Okay. Thomas?
I'm going to oppose it also.
Okay. Chair says aye. If you want, on further votes, if you'd rather have me go person by person, please just give me, person by person. I'm just trying to speed up this section.
That's fine.
I just have a quick question. I cannot tell if under A, the RSA 32 is that. It does not look like it's the same color.
It's a link.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. No problem.
Okay. David?
Question, and I did read the whole RSA 32 at one point, but I can't recall. Does that indicate anything of a time frame when a position needs to be filled? And should we have that in there, because we don't want to wait 3 months from a vacancy to have it filled? So maybe we should have something in the bylaws to at least have a.
What if you don't get a candidate? You know what I mean? Again, you're tying your hand. We have gone 3 months without a full board.
Last year.
Right, and it wasn't, the problem is what 3 months is it? If it's this time of year, it's not that big of a deal. If it's November, December, you know what I mean, then it's a big deal. So if you don't have no candidates, no one wants to sit on the board, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean, it's.
I think it's a great point, David. I think that if the RSA already covers that, then I don't think we actually would need to put something on there. But to be honest, I've read this back and forth, trying to figure out what to do about filling the opening. I don't recall if it said anything about having to wait a certain amount of time or not waiting a certain amount of time.
and my thought is not saying that we have to fill it within like 2 months or 1 month, is that we should at least, it should have something in there that that the vacancy needs to be posted within a certain period of time. If we get nobody offers anything,
I think that's in the RSA.
If we, do you have a computer? Do you have any
I
computer?
was trying to look
Yes,
it
I
up
do.
on my phone, but
Yeah,
yes, I do.
The,
a lot to read on.
yeah, there's a ton to read. on that
Oh,
one.
yeah. Subchapters or subchapters.
Yeah. While we're waiting, especially with the internet connection we have in this room, let's move to the responsibilities and duties of the committee. Sections 1 and 2 under B are, I think Bob added these.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Stan?
I agree with him, and this does address the, how many people have to be at a meeting. Says, note, 6 members must be in attendance at the meeting. On the number 1, so that is already addressed there.
So I actually have a question on, when we looked at the, it's going forward, but it's related to this, that quorum is a majority of 6 people, but
Five.
if we only have 9 people, then quorum would be
It's 5.
5.
Yeah, fine.
So I think anywhere there where it says 6,
Should be 5.
it should be 5.
Tom had his hand up.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Why not take out the number and put quorum?
I was going to say, suggest the same.
Note, a quorum
Must be
is
in
required,
attendance.
for a meeting.
Yeah.
But I think, would we consider someone on the speakerphone a part of quorum?
I do not believe the RSA allows you to do that.
So
I think you have to have a quorum present.
Meeting in
Bodies.
attendance, gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it coming?
I believe, Mr. Chairman, I covered that because you are a participant, but you're not here. That's why there's 2. Did I put it in there?
I would, if I may, under 1, where it says note 6 members, I would still leave as 5 members must be in attendance. That covers the fact that whoever's on a speakerphone isn't part of that, rather than a quorum. Let's put a number so that we know, in fact, how many people have to be sitting at this table. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Good one.
Should we add physical attendance? Bodily attendance?
Not mentally.
Well, yeah, we know that, but.
Physical attendance, come on, English teacher, help us out here.
Pardon?
Help us out with the,
All right, if we're doing note and you're just keeping it as 5 members need to be physically in attendance at the meeting?
More for clarification. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's an important piece that needs to be.
Because
updated.
otherwise you can just say, yeah, okay, we're all calling in and,
We're all in attendance. Yeah.
Sean, okay.
I thought I covered that somewhere. I'm pretty sure I covered that because that could happen.
Well, just in this one line, because it's talking about we're able to notify the chair and call in.
B number 2, I'm not sure if that's already covered in section B, talking about unexcused absences from 3 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings. Is just cause to cease to hold office.
Is that somewhere
Or
else?
4,
in here? I
actually.
don't remember.
Yeah, there's an RSA right on it, so
Yeah.
I think we gotta strike number 2.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed changes for line 1 and strike line 2.
Fair, second. Second by Aaron. Any more discussion on that? See no hands? Vote, Aaron, we'll start with you.
Yes.
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 David?
I'm going to say no, because it contradicts the or partially contradicts the RSA.
Okay. Point of information.
So the RSA that it's referencing indicates one of the members at large shall be elected by the budget committee. Oh wait, excuse me. Yeah, shall be elected by the budget committee as a chair. The committee shall.
That's not this.
It is, a member at large shall cease to hold office immediately upon 4 consecutive scheduled or unannounced meetings of which the member received reasonable notice without being excused by the chair.
And that's why I said
That's
strike
B.
2.
That's why we
Yeah.
struck two.
That's why
Yeah.
we're striking 2, because B says that.
Yeah, we're gonna remove 2.
It does.
Okay, it does, sorry, so I retract. I vote yes.
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 All right. Chair votes yes. All right. So, 6, conduct of meetings.
Party time.
You have a bunch of changes there?
No,
Oh.
it's party time.
Oh, yeah. It's always a party, right? So I don't see any changes that anyone proposed for that area. What you guys? Thanks for being patient, Nancy. David?
One quick question, the schedule of meetings, regular meetings shall be published annually by the chair. Is
Which one's that? I'm sorry.
number 8.
Number 8, okay.
Yeah, section 8, or A, line 8.
Yep.
I don't see, there's nothing in here indicating numbers there either in terms of when. Technically, you could post it December 31st,
And say that it was posted.
and it was posted that year. Doesn't do any good to not post it until the end of the year.
Yep.
Can you, if you don't mind, can you read what your concern again is?
Have we posted a schedule?
No.
We're 2 months in. How many months in before it becomes an issue to where we're not posting the schedule publicly in advance?
Well, as far as the RSAs are concerned, we don't need to, this is for our bylaws.
Okay, so technically this doesn't need to even be in our bylaws because the RSA covers.
Well, there's 2 schedules. There's the budget schedule and then there's a meeting schedule. The regular monthly, the meeting schedules are posted on the website, everything. It's always the same Tuesday of the month, all right? If you're talking about the budget schedule, we can't hold meetings without having that schedule posted. So,
The line item says a schedule of regular meetings shall be
Okay.
published, in
Yes.
which case,
and it's on the town website stating that the 3rd Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock is our meeting.
I stand corrected.
There is a calendar on the website. You go in there, you can see all the meetings that are being held and when they're being held. So it's on the website.
Yeah. And if I recall correctly from the last meeting, that's when we made sure that we're going to stick with the 3rd Tuesday of every
Yeah.
month.
I thought at first he was talking about the budget meetings. That's
No,
why-
It's
no,
very
this-
generic, very generic.
the regular meeting.
That's why I asked for clarification, because, yeah, it is posted.
Okay. Mark,
just-
did you have a comment? I'm sorry.
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just listening.
And just a side note, as everyone knows, you have to post a meeting 24 hours in
Yeah.
advance to even have the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
It's all said.
Yeah. Was that going to stay, Bob?
I was just gonna say that, he just said it.
Perfect.
It's already posted, you have 24 hours.
Excellent. All right. Any other concerns for, geez, I didn't put a page number on this one. Up to section C of that page. Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hand unless Ann,
No, I was just checking.
you getting the giggles over
We're
there?
getting the quorum down.
Now we're getting the quorum, absolutely. Now we're on D, quorum time. I think we already agreed that we need to do a majority of 5 members. There's addition for the water district, which makes sense for us because we have our water district's rep. What we do not have on here is something about being physically present.
you'd have to look up the RSA, what represents a quorum.
So we keep David around instead of
You know
computer.
what I mean? Because I think that's gonna give you the language that you're looking for. And I think course, it depends what was written before all this technology and everything, but I think you're gonna find, you know, there's no mention of Skyping or anything in this, but I think you're gonna be. Tom.
Sorry, Tom, I can't see you.
They do specifically mention, it may not be called out in the RSA, but there are guidelines mentioned where they talk about remote attendance, telepresence. And I don't remember if you're allowed to have multiple members or just one member present. But there are guidelines about how you do that and what is allowed and what is not allowed.
A good idea to get that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. We'll have it here in a minute.
Yeah, if they're not in the RSA, that's going to be hard to... You can handle the Wi-Fi if you want, if you trust that it's no one's going to hack your stuff.
I already am on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
It's referencing RSA 2115.
21:15.
21:15 does not describe quorum. It describes Chapter 21 of New Hampshire RSAs is statutory construction, and 2115 is related to joint authority.
Maybe joint authority, could that be a part of like the selectmen, water district, and school board?
You're the board's authority.
It's very short, 2 sentences. I can read the whole thing. Unless otherwise expressly declared. 1, words purporting to give a joint authority to 3 or more public officers shall give such authority to a majority of them. And the authority of any board, commission, or other body whose members are approved by the governor and council to conduct official business shall be vested in a majority of those members who have been approved by the governor and council.
Mr. Chairman, we can go back and change these bylaws at any time.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a, pulling a hair out tonight over there.
Yeah. That's a great point. I would like to, though, change a majority of 5 members.
It does say 5.
No, that 5 is my question mark. Like, it shouldn't be 5.
Okay, I agree.
Would you like to make a motion and add the water district? I'm sorry, Aaron?
Under public meetings, what is a quorum? A majority of any board or committee constitute a quorum unless an applicable law or rule states otherwise. In the rare case that the rule of the body defines a quorum as more than a majority, for example, if a municipal chapter defines a quorum of the town council as 2/3 of the members, then a meeting occurs when a majority is convened, even if that majority is less than a quorum. This was added as a recognition of the fact that even if a simple majority does not constitute a quorum, for the purpose of conducting business, the majority shall be able to control any decisions when a quorum is actually convened. That's under 2115.
So it's not stating present or...
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
So
It's not a specific.
Communication-wise,
So we might have some leeway here to decide what we want to do as a board.
We can do what our bylaws, we can do what we choose to do.
Well, we'd rather not to break any sort of
What I'm
laws,
saying,
though,
if
right?
it's a gray area, we can make it stricter.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see the physical.
Yeah, it makes sense. So your motion for one would be to a majority of 5 members of the budget committee. Well, you can put physical in there someplace. Physically present. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Plus add the water district to the
Mm-hmm.
crew.
Yep.
All right. I'll second it.
First and second. Can I have an official second?
I'll second
Aaron?
it.
Fantastic.
No, you were first. I said your motion. That's how I
Yeah.
worded it to you.
No, I asked if you seconded it. Start to my left. Thomas?
Yes.
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 Stan?
Yes. Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Jamie? Okay, I didn't hear you. Fantastic. Okay, party order business or agenda is recommended as follows, blah, blah, blah. It's a recommendation. I don't think there needs to be much. I loosely base our agenda on this recommendation.
Yeah.
Not seeing any questions, concerns, changes. F, roll the chair.
I don't see in here where it says donuts are brought by the chair.
I was thinking
10?
pizza.
Looking
Number
at
10?
Right.
Looking at all the guys, and except for Mark, I think we've had enough donuts in our lives.
It's dinner
I
time.
resemble that remark.
It's dinner time, not donuts.
Right. Well, you haven't made cookies in a while either, Aaron.
I'm all set with it.
Wait,
Oh, all right. All right. Anything else to add to that section? We could also stop here and continue on our next meeting if we want. Want to keep going?
We have to, RSA states we need to get these voted in tonight.
We did.
We already
We'd
voted.
already
Right,
voted
but if
on
we
it.
make, I'll say what you're saying. So in other words, we're not, the changes, we're not going to adapt tonight, adopt rather.
Correct.
Okay.
So we could continue,
Yeah, next meeting?
we could power through now, or we could wait till next meeting.
I don't know, I have snacks, so.
She's good to go.
That's
David?
At minimum, I'd suggest let's bounce back to the original question on the
Vacancies,
vacancies,
all right.
3215. I did find that one.
Part 7, right?
Part 7, in municipalities where members at large are appointed, the chair shall notify the moderator immediately upon the occurrence of any vacancy in the membership at large, and the vacancy shall be filled by appointment by the moderator within 5 days of such notification, otherwise by the budget committee. In municipalities where members at large are elected, vacancies shall be filled by appointment by the budget committee. Persons appointed to fill vacancies shall serve until the next annual meeting, at which time a successor shall be elected or appointed to either fill the unexpired term or start a new term as the case may be.
Which is about half of what we have here, right?
right. So there's no specification on the budget committee to fulfill a seat in any time slot.
Right.
There is if you're appointed, but if you're elected and the budget committee is appointing you, then no.
Right. I think it's pretty broad on this.
Yeah. Well, it is and it isn't. You know, it's giving you, so your hands aren't super tied, but you know,
Right.
you got a way to go.
Yeah, I mean, David, for some clarification, like last year, what month did you end up joining us, Aaron?
May,
May.
end of May.
So, like right now. Yeah, so we went a few months without anyone, and I don't think it was ever posted, right? You just showed up and we dragged you in.
Well, no,
We
it's
just-
posted.
No, that
Oh, was
was
it?
posted,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw it on the website.
Oh, okay, cool.
And they put it on the front door, and they put it, I think they put it at the,
We got one person.
And then I came in, I raised my hand and asked where the ladies' room was, and they said, oh, I have a
and I made the motion to have her sit in the chair.
I sent you in.
Then 10 months later, she is our new select woman, so there it goes. You two can
And she's
be,
blaming us.
Be careful what you wish for.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop this at F. Actually, we already started with F. Any changes in that section? No?
F?
Okay.
Oh,
So,
F.
Peg, did you say yeah?
I said F? What? Yes, no, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll pick up at G for the next meeting. I think it's good because if we get a break, right, from looking at these, I do think they're kind of important. They definitely are what we're supposed to be running our meetings on. So try to, if you can, there's only like 1, 2, 3 in a little tiny section. Take a look at them before next meeting, so we're all kind of prepared. Next on the agenda, announcements. Anyone have any announcements there? Good news, hopefully? Anything? No? Public comments. Hello, thank you very much for staying. You just want to hang out with us today?
Yeah.
Awesome, all
I'm
right.
playing like AA, 90 meetings, 90 days.
I didn't know that, but thank you for telling us that bit of information.
Not that I would know.
Yeah, okay. Well, we appreciate you coming to watch us chatter and talk and do business. Our next meeting, 18th of June, 2018 at 6 p.m. Aaron?
Question, are you taking July off? I know we had talked about that, but then kind of, I don't know where that wound
I
up.
think we typically do. Of course, typically for me is 1 year. Maybe these gentlemen might have some more,
No, it gives us a breather before we have to start jumping in feet first on the new budget.
yeah. So we can bring that up for next meeting. But I'm sorry, Thomas?
What date did you say our next meeting was?
I think it was the 18th?
No.
18th is a Monday.
Oh, would that be the 19th?
Okay.
Is that the third?
That would be the third Tuesday.
My bad, thanks, Thomas. 19th of June 2018, clarification. All right,
Motion adjourned.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Dave.
Since Bob told the whole public, I'll tell everybody how to do things.
Starts at 8 and ends at 6.
Yeah, you guys are still on.
You don't stop. It's
They,
great that
well,
everybody.
they know. Oh, okay.
But then we find out.
There's an arrow up there.
You see where the column is? The article zones that we're supposed to have done 2 years ago.
Sometimes.
But